Healthcare worker sentenced in landmark medical privacy breach of Supreme Court justice in a case that highlights the growing concerns about medical privacy in the digital age. A federal court in Alexandria, Virginia, has sentenced a former healthcare professional to 2 years in prison for illegally accessing the confidential medical records of the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The case underscores the critical intersection of healthcare privacy, cybersecurity, and public figure protection in modern medicine. The breach and its discovery. Trent Russell, a 34-year-old former transplant coordinator from Bellevue, Nebraska, received his sentence following a conviction for unauthorized access to protected health information and tampering with medical records. Working for the Washington regional transplant community, Russell held a position that granted him broad access to hospital records throughout the region, a privilege he ultimately abused. The investigation revealed a disturbing pattern of behavior that occurred in 2019, during a period when public discourse frequently centered on Justice Ginsburg's health and her capacity to continue serving on the nation's highest court. While a jury found Russell guilty of illegally accessing and altering medical records, they acquitted him of charges related to publishing the information online, despite prosecutors presenting evidence that the stolen information appeared on forums known for spreading anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. The investigation and trial of the prosecution's case painted a picture of deliberate misconduct, with prosecutor Zoe Bedell highlighting Russell's apparent lack of remorse and his implausible explanations for his actions. Perhaps most notably, Russell offered an extraordinary excuse, suggesting that his unauthorized access might have resulted from his cat walking across his keyboard, a defense that would later draw sharp criticism from the presiding judge. The investigation faced unique challenges due to the high-profile nature of the victim. Court documents were carefully redacted to protect Justice Ginsburg's identity, though her role as the victim became common knowledge during the trial proceedings. This unusual circumstance led to significant legal debates about how a public figure's status should influence sentencing in privacy violation cases. Debating vulnerability and status, a central point of contention during sentencing, focused on how Justice Ginsburg's position should affect the assessment of the crime's severity. Prosecutors argued that her public profile, advanced age, and health conditions made her particularly vulnerable to privacy violations. They emphasized how public speculation about her health had created a climate where such information could be especially damaging. The defense, led by attorney Charles Burnham, presented a contrasting view, arguing that Ginsburg's position of power and influence should mitigate considerations of vulnerability. This philosophical debate touched on fundamental questions about privacy rights and whether public figures deserve different standards of protection. The sentencing decision, U.S. District Judge Michael Nachmanoff ultimately imposed a 24-month sentence, describing Russell's actions as truly despicable conduct. The judge's decision reflected several key considerations, including Russell's persistent denials of responsibility and his conduct during the investigation and trial. Nachmanoff particularly noted the defendant's choice to offer implausible explanations, rather than accept responsibility for his actions. In a particularly poignant moment during sentencing, Judge Nachmanoff highlighted the irony of sealing information about Russell's step-parents' health conditions, the very type of privacy protection Russell had denied Justice Ginsburg. This observation underscored the universal importance of medical privacy, regardless of an individual's public status. Professional background and mitigating factors. The defense presented several mitigating factors during sentencing, including Russell's professional contributions as a transplant coordinator and his military service, which included deployment to Afghanistan. Burnham characterized his client's actions as a momentary lapse in judgment, describing them as being stupid rather than malicious. These arguments for leniency stood in stark contrast to the prosecution's request for a 30-month sentence, highlighting the challenge courts face in balancing punishment, deterrence, and rehabilitation in cases involving breaches of trust by healthcare professionals. Broader implications for healthcare privacy. This case raises significant questions about the security of medical records in an increasingly digital healthcare system. As healthcare facilities continue to digitize patient records and expand access for improved coordination of care, the risk of privacy breaches by authorized users remains a serious concern. The case also highlights the unique challenges faced when protecting the privacy of public figures in the healthcare system. While all patients deserve equal protection under privacy laws, high-profile cases can create additional complications for both healthcare providers and legal systems. Legal precedent and future impact. The sentencing sets an important precedent for similar cases involving medical privacy violations, particularly those targeting public figures. It demonstrates the serious consequences healthcare workers may face for abusing their access to confidential medical information, regardless of their motivations or the status of their victims. Moving forward, as the healthcare industry continues to evolve, this case serves as a crucial reminder of the importance of maintaining strong privacy protections and the serious consequences of violating patient confidentiality. It also raises important questions about how healthcare organizations can better monitor and control access to sensitive medical information while still maintaining the efficiency necessary for quality patient care. The case concludes with uncertainty about potential appeals, as Russell and his legal team declined to comment on their future plans following the sentencing. However, its impact on healthcare privacy practices and the protection of public figures' medical information will likely resonate well beyond the 2-year prison term imposed.